Elementary, dear viewers, this is Spaceriffic Reviews. I am Kevin T. Rodriguez, Prime Detective of TheMovieWizard.com, and this is my partner, Marco.
Yeah.
Anyway, today, as you probably figured out, we're going to be reviewing Sherlock Holmes. Now, what do you think about Sherlock Holmes? I think of a old-fashioned British guy, lives in a era where there's no cars or anything, big pipe, crazy hat, was a fat guy next to him while he looks for clues and he just picks up little observations and usually doesn't have the life experience to pick it up, and that's where his partner comes in, who does have the life experience. Guy Ritchie's new film, Sherlock Holmes, actually kind of comes close to that, which kind of surprised me a little bit. Here he's played by Robert Downey Jr., who I have to admit looks absolutely nothing like I expected Sherlock Holmes would look, but he actually gets the personality of the character off pretty well, you know, although instead of being an intellectual genius, he's more of a intellectual neurotic who can't seem to do anything unless he has a case on him. And Jude Law plays Watson, probably less convincing because he's younger than Downey Jr. and therefore doesn't look like he's in much of a position to be assisting anyone.
Oh, but he was still kind of fun.
Yeah. So the storyline is not quite as complicated as you would like for a Sherlock Holmes movie. Essentially, he has to find someone, and there's some suspicion of voodoo magic.
I thought the movie was a hoot. It wasn't an amazing film, but it
cute.
was good. I liked Robert Downey Jr. and I did like Jude Law. I thought they had good chemistry. Jude Law was not who you usually think of when you see Watson.
Yeah.
But he did fine with what he was given. Rachel McAdams was kind of wasted. I think that the movie, it did kind of...
okay, I mean, you complained about the bad guy in Avatar, and I didn't complain about
this guy
anything.
was better than the bad guy in Avatar.
No, I don't think so. This guy did a whole lot less and wasn't even interesting.
He had a mild personality.
It's
not the same movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna complain. Like, you had a problem with that, but I have a problem with this bad guy. I like my Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes villains are popular because they're charismatic. This guy wasn't.
This is... The one thing about this movie is that it falls in the same category as other reboots. That's the most disappointing thing for me. It followed a very standard pattern of especially toward the end. It did basically follow The Dark Knight. Other than the one thing it did well in that pattern was technically Sherlock Holmes is already established and Watson is already established. I like that we didn't have to watch them become their characters.
They didn't establish it.
But they're rebooting it in a certain respect so audiences will get to kind of know them a little bit better.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes, while he was a boxer in the books, in fact, no, I'm not even going to go there because I've been accused too much of... I don't like to compare the books to the movie, so I'm going to stop right there. But I will say, this slow motion kung fu stuff that he does didn't do a whole lot for me, and I don't want to give away the ending, but with Pirates of the Caribbean 3, that was kind of like my breaking point for like third entries and sequels, and so the rest of that year it's like I'm not seeing a third installment of a franchise unless the reviews are halfway decent because I'm paying the wrong thing. I think this movie's kind of the snapping point for me where I'm getting awfully tired of these movies ending, but they're not really ending. It's like, by the way, thanks for watching. The real movie's coming the next time around.
They did the same thing with The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Or not The Dark Knight, the other one, The Batman Begins. That was what I said. It was frustrating.
It wasn't
you watched The Batman, you said yourself.
Well, it wasn't
Sherlock
an issue
Holmes
7
villains.
years ago.
You said yourself, Sherlock Holmes villains are charismatic villains.
Yeah.
The guy, it's like The Dark Knight, or the Batman Begins thing. We had to wait a whole fucking movie before anybody who wasn't a comic book reader knew who the hell the villain was. Because they did that. They were like, it's the Scarecrow. I don't care. And they did that with this movie. They did the exact same thing.
I don't know who this bad guy is. Not that I'm comparing, but the bad guy, I mean, like I said, I'm so glad it was a mystery. But even the fact that it was a mystery, I mean, Sherlock Holmes, the old movie productions and stuff, the clues were normally not too obvious, but they were subtle enough where it's like you could figure it out if you were, you know, paying close enough attention. But in this, even with the clue dropping and everything, when he explains the case, there are some things that some of the clues were off camera, so you can't quite figure out exactly what's going on.
I liked those were the best moments. They managed to, in a slightly different way, work in the Sherlock Holmes clues And he still did it in his same Sherlock Holmes style of, oh, well, I noticed this, this, and this. And they did it very well, and he did it very intelligently. And they made the chemistry work. It felt like Sherlock Holmes in a surprising way, even though it was seedier. Guy Ritchie did an excellent job in a certain respect of creating a wonderfully awesome, gritty, horrid, dirty as hell Victorian England.
No,
like it looked great.
No,
because it was grimy. The water looked awful. Like
this is a very bland set. Yeah, I've seen it done so much better. It has no personality.
What did it better?
It's all CGI.
Look, this movie, yeah, I will say that this movie did not have Watson come off like a bumbling moron who was big, and have Sherlock Holmes kind of slowly wander around and go, well, I noticed this while he puffs on his pipe.
Look, I'm praising the performances and even most of the characteristics. I'm ultimately not going to recommend it. It's not a great mystery. It's not a great story. The bad guy's kind of weak, and I'm going to give it a affectionate 2.5 stars.
I give it 3.5 stars. It wasn't a fantastic film, but it was certainly a hoot, and it was enjoyable.
3.5. I'm going to have to deduct later on how you came to that score. Remember to rate, subscribe, and flame responsibly.